Welcome to another edition of Spooky News from Spooky Ventures. In case the mask didn't give it away, this week's episode is for Friday the 13th of October. Halloween is coming up quickly, and everything around us is turning spooky. Then again, for those of us in the spooky tribe, that's just the normal state of being no matter the season. I'm sure those of you who watch enough of these know what comes now. I need to get a few things out of the way before I get to the news. First, this YouTube channel, and really all things Spooky Ventures, is meant to be interactive, so please interact. You can do that by liking our videos, sharing our videos, and subscribing to our channel. You can also interact by commenting on our videos. If there's something you think I should talk about in a future Spooky News episode, let me know. If you know someone I should interview, please get in touch about that too. Next up, if you want more information about any of the things I talk about, there are two ways you can get that. First, if you stick around until I'm done talking, and really isn't everyone hoping for that time, you'll see them all as title cards at the end of this video. Alternately, you can also find them in the details of the description of this video. Well, with all of that out of the way, let's get to the actual news for this time around. First off, let's look to spooky books. One recent book that is dominating the horror sales charts comes from filmmaker Jordan Peele. Peele is known for movies like Get Out, Us, and Nope. His new book is a horror anthology that gathers up stories from black writers. Titled Out There Screaming, an anthology of new black horror, the book was edited by Peele. At the time the source article I used for this piece was written, it was holding the #1 spot on Amazon's horror charts. From there, let's move on to what might be an unexpected topic here, energy drinks. We're hitting that topic because, as of today, a new Friday the 13th inspired energy drink is available. It's called Hack and Slash, and comes in a cool collector's box. The drink comes from a company called G Fuel. A graphic novel that's coming will serve as a prequel to the next MonsterVerse movie. The book, titled Godzilla x Kong: The Hunted, has a crowdfunding campaign that has reached its goal. There is no date listed for the publication of the book, but the movie for which it will be a prequel is coming in April of next year, and will be called Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Next, we turn to a more expected subject for my spooky news shows, television, and more specifically Svengoolie. I have said it many times before, but I'm a huge fan of the show, and a huge fan, and the show is a big part of Saturday in our house every week. For those who don't know, Svengoolie is a horror host character played by Rich Koz. It's also the name of the show he hosts. It ran locally in the Chicago area for many years before going national on MeTV. The show runs every Saturday night on the network. The show has been making news on many fronts lately, and I've talked about several of them in past episodes. This time, though, I'm focusing on the cast. It was recently officially announced that there is now a Sven squad of characters. Nostalgia Ferratu was the first to start appearing on the show. That character is actually one that has been on MeTV's cartoon show Tune In With Me, that has started showing up on Svengoolie more frequently over the last year or so. The character is played by Tune In With Me host Bill F. Two newer characters were discovered during a promotion that has been running on Svengoolie for a year or so. That promotion was called Spawn of Svengoolie and encouraged fans to submit their auditions. I even submitted one, and it was aired on the show a few months ago. Well, two finalists from that competition have been added to the Sven squad. Those two characters are Gwen Gooley and Imp. Here's looking forward to getting to know those characters better on the show. In more TV news, a thriller centered on Ted Bundy is getting turned into a television series. The book, which was released last month and almost immediately landed on the New York Times bestseller list, is titled Bright Young Women. It's a novel inspired by true events and was written by Jessica Knoll, and she will be writing and executive producing the new TV show. Looking to a story that is part TV news and part movie news, Disney's new version of The Haunted Mansion hit Disney Plus on October 4th. It's billed as a family horror movie and has an all-star cast, and you can stream it now with your subscription to Disney Plus. I recently talked about a new show coming to Apple Plus that is a documentary about the story on which Conjuring 2 was based. Well, The Devil on Trial gives similar treatment to Conjuring 3, and it's coming from Netflix. Rather than a series, this one will be a documentary film. It can be streamed starting October 17th, but a new trailer is available now. Speaking of trailers, there's a new one out that takes us from television to movies. The Loch Ness Horror will be getting a digital and DVD release on November 7th, but a trailer has emerged for the movie. The film is described as appealing to fans of movies like The Meg and Tremors. Next up, we'll turn our attention to the Halloween franchise. I'm talking about the original series of movies rather than the various later versions. The original Halloween movie is 45 years old this year. In past years, the movie has been returning to theaters for spooky season. This year is no exception, but this time around it's part of a threefer because Halloween 4 and 5, see what they did there, 45, will be included too. The movies will be screened in roughly 300 theaters nationwide starting today. You'll need to check to find specific days, times, and theaters. Talking about movies coming back to theaters, Terrifier 2 will be making that journey on November 1st, and it will have some interesting perks when it does. For starters, the first 100 people in the door at each theater will get a free poster. Secondly, the presentation will include a teaser trailer for Terrifier 3. As with the Halloween scenario, you'll need to look around to find the theater near you for this special event. If you're a fan of the Chucky movies, Arrow Videos has something special coming for you. That's because they are releasing a box set for both standard Blu-ray and 4K of the 7 original Chucky films. The set will be available starting December 11th and will feature new artwork, booklet, and more. It's important to mention that while the 4K edition is region-free, the standard Blu-rays are strictly region B. That means they won't play on standard players except in Europe, Africa, Middle East, Australia, and New Zealand. Another film getting the 4K treatment is a slasher movie from 1989. Cutting Class stars Brad Pitt and is coming from MVD. The release date will be January 16th and will be part of the celebration of the 35th anniversary of the film's release. It will come as a double disc with both 4K and standard Blu-ray discs. In a sad piece of movie news, director Anthony Hickox has passed away. He is known for such films as Warlock Armageddon, Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth, and Waxwork. He was 64 years old. While that brings us to the end of the actual news items, it isn't the end of the video. That's because I always cover some dates for our spooky calendar. I should mention that you can always find that calendar at the main site at spookyventures.com. Before we get to those dates, I should mention that the main page at spookyventures.com has a lot of other cool stuff. You can find interesting Spooky Ventures merchandise, lots of cool videos both from this channel and our playlists, some cool calendars to buy, and some book suggestions from Tales of Wonder and Dread Publishing. You'll find that calendar link at the bottom of the page, the main page though. The calendar features movie release dates, birth dates of interest to fans of all things spooky, and more. Looking to the calendar for the next week or so, we find quite a few movie release dates. Today, Friday the 13th, 4 movies will be released. Those films are 13 Cameras, Dark Harvest, Never Hike Alone 2, and Dear David. A week from today, on the 21st, Malibu Horror Story opens. Now keep in mind that I get these dates from Fandango, and they don't give specific release information in terms of how wide the distribution will be and things like that. So you should probably check around if you're interested in any of those films. Also, next Friday the 21st marks the anniversary of actor Bela Lugosi's birthday. Well, that brings us to the end for this time, but don't forget to stick around for all the source URLs. I should be back here a week from today, minus the hockey mask, but in the meantime, remember, spooky is a lifestyle, not a season, so always keep it spooky. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.